I'm back again for another review, and my god, this movie sucks. Who ever thought of this idea? Today I'm reviewing this movie called Deadspace Aftermath. This movie absolutely sucks. This movie is a disrespect to the Dead Space trilogy for the PlayStation 3 or multi-platform. I heard there was also a remake of that game too, and to be honest, I haven't played it yet, but I might play it sometime later if I have the chance. Um, This movie takes place in 2059. Survivors are aboard in the spaceship USG O'Bannon trying to recall the horrific events that wiped out their crew. Um, yeah, what there is to say about this film? I think this movie was a major letdown. The story line kind of failed to grab my attention, making the whole viewing experience feel tedious and boring. Like, what's worse than 3D elements were poorly executed, adding to my disappointment as a fan of the Dead Space franchise. I had hope for it more, but this film missed the freaking mark entirely from my perspective. It's unfortunately it's marred by some really awful CG animation, but the stories in between with the different styles of anime was meh, but was a different perspective of the same story, Rashomon style. It's like I mean, it was a little interesting at first with the graphic universe that plays in, but again, the animation and the wraparounds ruins this film. It's not even a film; it's just a shitty Western anime film. That's all it is. It's actually worse than the Dante's Inferno Western anime. I'd rather watch Dante's Inferno than this piece of crap. I mean, what is it trying to do for the entire trilogy? What is there to tell for the based on the trilogy? Is this supposed to be some kind of some kind of prequel? It was really bad. Not only did it have a mediocre plot, the entire film was spent telling backstory with little current events, and the animation god awful. The god awful shitty 3D takes up majority of the film, and then you got the backstories in traditional Western anime style. I mean, yeah, yeah, Western anime. I'm not, to be honest with you, I'm not a huge anime fan. Never was. So that didn't make any sense. It was a slow and boring film. Everyone had anger issues. There was sex and people getting cheated on was pointless for the storyline. Yeah, the guy who basically killed his, who basically had illuminate, how do you call it? Hallucinations, right? Hallucinations everywhere after touching that stone, and then he kills his freaking wife and his freaking child. What kind of messed up crap is that? That's just absolutely unnecessary. He deserved for what he gets. I mean, and then but he gets to live because of, for some reason, he gets to freaking live because he has the information of the markers. While every other character in that movie actually gets killed off, especially the guy, having hallucinations of his dead daughter. Some chick that was some Korean chick that was having an affair with that guy. It's I don't even feel anything for these characters at all. I could care less. I mean, this is what I get for watching a free movie on YouTube or any other platform. It draws you in with a handful of candy, like a candy being the video game franchise Dead Space, only to pull you into their van, have their way with you, or for an hour and a half, and throw you out in the outskirts of town. This is how I felt after watching this piece of dog shit of a movie. Not only that, but there were many other things that just made me shake my head, saying, "What the fuck?" So this movie takes place after the events of the first Deadspace video game, where another military spaceship heads towards what is left for the decaying planet, only to retrieve what's left for the marker. Lo and behold, they get more than they bargain, as far as the four survivors tell different sides of their stories after being interrogated by their rescue team. This must have been like some kind of interesting concept. Only Dead Space Downfall did not do it first, and that's when this movie started to draw me back a bit, even more and more and more as the film went on. The four main characters that are giving their sides of the story that are pretty much standard cookie cutter characters in horror survival films. Let's see. You got the troubled tough guy who's trying to get over the loss of his child, which I just explained earlier. The wounded hero who has seen too much in his short lifetime. The religious zealot who thinks as an ancient death machine is a sign from the heavens. Most importantly, your Asian scapegoat, or the female medic who assists her group. You also have a bunch of other characters who are easily forgettable because they're your standard military guys who say things on their dying breath like "Leave me and take this to the ship. That's an order, and I'll be taking your sons of bitches with me." The animation is here in here is also a huge disappointment in here as well. Like the poorly CG characters that look like the graphics were done in 2001. But the anime cartoon side was okay to say the least, but I have a feeling that the people who made the animations didn't actually communicate it with each other. And making this movie, the reason I say is because there are many inconsistencies between the stories. Like the paranoid black guy who keeps seeing his dead daughter in his mind, who's black wearing a pink dress. The girl is saying, "Daddy, daddy this, daddy that." And then he tells his side of the story. Story she's Asian wearing a white dress. And then there's the captain of the spaceship whose beards tend to change between stories from full beard to a short beard and even a goatee at one point. Overall, this movie is one big mess. It should not have been made with the $2.5 million budget that to make it. You can take this film out of the Death Space continuity, and no one would have missed it. And that is why I give it a fucking 1 star.